get on with it now and then?
Yeah, let's just get on with it. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't want to.
So I'm just going to show you what I do, and then Fabi's going to add in what she does that's better.
Better. Different, you know, different purposes.
Yeah. Let me. Put this up. Okay. Did you see my Edpuzzle screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a couple of options. I've got my teacher view. I've actually created like a test student to show you what it looks like from their end as well. So I'm just going to log in. You can log in or sign up, and you choose whether you're a teacher or a student. So obviously you would want to be a teacher, but you can create a separate account for the student to see what they look at. So I'm just going to log in here. Okay, so first thing to go through is the content. So on this side, you've actually got everyone that signs up with Somersfield Academy as their school. You can see what's in there to do with other subjects and other videos. So for instance, I know Richard's using it as well, so I can see his videos if I want to.
I signed up yesterday and I clicked STEM. There's nothing there, but I just signed up, so we should start putting stuff.
Okay, so I can see everything there. If I go to my content, I've just been creating videos aimed at different year groups. I've got them in folders. I'll just show you quickly the kind of things that I've put in. So I've created videos myself and uploaded them into this. I'll go through that again in a second. But the general thing about this program that I've been doing is I've been putting videos in or using videos, and then you can edit to add questions or just sort of assign them to classes to keep a track of who's watching them. So other options you might choose if you don't want to create your own videos, is you might just choose to pick something. So there are other channels that you can do. You can find videos that are already made with these little hyphen things. Mean they've got questions and notes already attached to them, but you can edit those, you can change those however you want. So if I just select one, you can see what it is. You can see that there's some multiple choice questions. You can see down here that if we run the video, it will run through and you'll get to points where these questions are asked. And that's what the kids will see and answer. Okay. Now you can, as you saw, you can edit that or you can make a copy. Sorry if I click it in. So you can make a copy, you can edit it, and that will then put it into your content, but it allows you to cut the video. It allows you to add voiceovers if you like. If you want to get rid of the sound that was there before and put your own over the top, or if you want to add these questions. So you've got different options for the questions. And as you watch the video, you can pick the point at which the video is running and add a particular question, whether it's multiple choice and you put the right, what you want the right answer to be, and if you like, or you can do open-ended questions, or you can just add notes over the top. So that's how you can use other people's videos. Okay.
That's amazing. That's so good.
So I think then if I then click on my content over here, you'll see now, because I've edited it, I've now got that in my content. Now I've only got the free account. I don't think as an individual you can pay for a pro account yet, or I can't anyway. And I've only got 20 videos, so things like that, I'd have to click on it and I can move it to a folder, or I can just delete that from my content. Frees me up the space again. So there are lots of videos. Like I say, you can go to YouTube and just search for whatever you want. So if you wanted to use it for PE, I guess you can find your different exercise videos and set questions or voiceovers over the top of that. Okay, any questions on that at the moment that I might be able to answer?
So when you've set those questions, does it
Yeah.
say who's answered them and what their answers were?
Yes, so that's so I'll go through that if you don't mind, just in the next bit.
Okay.
So I'm just going to show you if you wanted to create your own video.
Sorry, Alan, just one question
Yeah,
before you go on. Did you say that there's only a maximum of 20 videos that you can keep in your content?
yes, at the moment. So if you go up here under school plans, these are the options, but we can't, you know,
What's coming soon?
pick that at the moment.
Okay.
So you can only have 20.
Yeah, it's
videos.
a shame. It's a shame it's not one of those companies that's giving out the freebies right now, because I know this is being used extensively.
Yeah.
They're
And
probably-
then as Emma said about seeing what their answers are and that kind of thing, I'll show you that. But if you delete them from your content area, it also deletes all their responses and the marks. So you would probably at the moment want to transfer those into something else. Show you what I mean in a minute. But to say if you wanted to make your own video, what I've done, I can upload a video and choose a file from your computer. So I've been creating them using my Snagit screen capture and things. Or you can just say, upload it to YouTube and just find your video on YouTube. You can put in the share link in the YouTube thing and it will find your video for you. I do believe if I do that, one sec. Oh, well, I'll go back to that. So let's see what then happens. So I've set one up for you. So my M4 videos, I've got these videos and I've set up a few, but there's one that I want them to do for Monday's lesson. So I've got this video set up. It's just recorded. There's nothing on it at the moment. If I now want to edit it and set all the questions, I can do that. But if I'm happy with where it is, I can then assign it. And I've got some classes set up here. So I'm going to, and you can see that. You can add classes. Here you go. Add the new class. You can set it up. I'll show you about adding, because they should add themselves really. But I'm just going to click on my M4. I can assign it to everyone or I can assign it manually. So I can click on the students that have signed up for this class and pick them, whoever I want. So if I want it to go to one person in particular, or I can just assign it to everyone. So I can set a start date. So this one, I don't want them to be able to see it until Monday, and I can do a particular time. And if you want to put a deadline for when it's due, you can. I'm not going to bother with that. So I'm just going to set it as April the 20th, and they'll have as long as they like. And then I can click assign. Okay. And then what you'll see, you've got lots of options for how you address what they do. you can see at the moment, I've got all their names. I can see how much of it they've watched, and so on. Okay, so I'll pick a different one. So in my grade book up here, I can click on grade book, and I've got other classes set up. So for instance, my M3 group have done a few tasks. So I can see these are scores. I can see how long they've been watching things in total. So if I pick on this task here, you can click on the task, you can click on their name, you can click on their score at the moment, and so on. But what I can see from this task, for instance, is I can see that these people have watched the entire video. They have answered some questions, and I've already been through and I've marked them. But you can say, there's so much you can click on. Click on Liam's name. I can go through, I can see his answer, whether he's answered or not. Probably not a good one to go through. If I click on Naya is normally a good one. So she's been through, and I've set a question. If you set it as a multiple choice, then it marks it for them itself and gives it right or wrong, 100 out of 100. If it's
He's frozen.
Yeah, I have a question.
accordingly.
Oh, sorry, Alan, you cut out a little bit the last maybe 30 seconds or so.
Oh, I've got unstable internet connection, sorry.
Lovely.
So yeah, I was just saying you can mark it correct if it's a long answer, or you can say, give it a, if I want to change that value myself, give it an arbitrary value that you think it's worth, you can. If you're not going to give full marks, you can click a comment and add a comment. And I've gone through and marked all the questions. So here's an example of a multiple choice one. And she picked the right answer, so it just already marks it as 100 out of 100. And you can go through each one in turn and mark them like that. There's lots of different ways to mark them. So there's, I think, did see one of the options was there are still answers to be marked. You'll see it sometimes where it says new answers have been given. And you can just click and you can mark all the question at the same time without having to click into every student. You can just mark them all separately. One thing I've noticed recently, which I really did like, if I show you my task I did recently. So this is how I've used it a little bit differently. So you can see I've got one answer to grade. This video had no voiceover at all. I just recorded the screen and asked questions.
Oh dear, it's frozen again. I guess we'll just have to wait for him to pop back. Did he drop out entirely? No, he couldn't have. He's got his screen still there. Okay. So we'll just have to wait for him to unfreeze.
Can I ask a question in the meantime?
Wow.
Oh, there he's back. You froze again there, Alan.
Sorry.
I think Fabi has a question though.
Go on.
So, so as you know, I've been using Edpuzzle, but I haven't I haven't added my students to it.
Yeah.
What is the best way to input students? Because there are so many students.
Well, I haven't inputted students at all. So let me take you through a process. So if I go to my classes and add new class,
Yeah.
okay, create a new class, I can call it, you know, whatever I want to call it. I can create a class, and then if I invite students, all I've been doing is copying the link and then putting
Oh,
and then what they do. So this is where I was going to show you. Like that. I'm going to log myself out, and then I'm going to log in as a student. I've done that. So this is what they'll see. So what they do when they log in, they can join a class, and they can do that using that link that you sent or just that code that you saw, the 6 letters. And I get them to do it themselves. And you can see when they've joined your class or not because their name appears. And I do it like that. I don't bother setting them up myself.
okay. Yeah.
That's good.
So from the student, so here's the code look that I set up. So in terms of what the students see, so this will be due assignments if there's no due date. So for instance, I've just put this one in as a test that will be given to M4. So they'll see, watch the whole video, that's it in that case. This one, solving the problems, you can see that they've got questions to answer. And what's good about it is you can set it when you set your work that they're not allowed to skip the video. So they have to watch the video to get through all the questions.
Okay.
So they can't just kind of leave it playing in the background and the whole video goes on and then they just come back to it and close it all down. So
Do you have the capability, Alan, do you have the capability of putting, building into it, skip this part if you've already done it sort of thing? I know there was another, I can't remember, Zaption. Zaption used to have that ability that you could skip.
yeah, it's not something I've seen. I mean, what you can do is just make it so that it's skippable.
Okay.
They can skip through if you want them to only answer particular questions. So this is what they get to see. If they've got any completed work that you've marked and added comments to, then they'll get that in their completed work.
How collaborative is this space? I mean, you said there was like a Somersfield Academy area. So do you and Richard, for example, swap content or share content? Is it something that Chantel's here that she could tap into?
Yes, yeah, as soon as you put in Somersfield, so if I go back to me as a teacher, as soon as you put in Somersfield, you've got, if I click on Somersfield, I've got all the content that, like myself and Richard, anything to do with Somersfield is in there. So if Chantel signs up and just signs in with Somersfield Academy, it will come up now, we've put it in there. All of this will be available. So the only thing that was kind of, whether it's a concern or not, is I believe once in my content, not only can...
I'm just watching a video.
Okay, so not only can I share my content amongst Somersfield, I do think that it is findable by anyone.
Oh, really?
So yes, if I want to search for content, so I'm not totally sure, but if I do using quadratics in the search, mine comes up there, but so do other people's. Look.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
Don't know whether mine come up because I've got access to them, but there's no way of, I've been looking at it, I can't make them private or anything. So as soon as it's on Edpuzzle, I believe other teachers can copy it, use it, edit it and stick questions on.
You know, it's not a bad thing at the end of the day. If we can just all use it together and play nice with each other, it's right now, because I believe there's so many schools around the world right now using this, I'm surprised actually I'm not seeing more when you put in, oh, but okay, M4 using quadratics. So I wonder if you just put in quadratics, whether you'd get a different search, or is that the search field?
I think, you know, it's it will be there somewhere, but it'll be a lot further down the list.
Any more? Oh, okay, gotcha.
You've
Okay.
got lots more options, just like you would.
So interesting. Wow.
But
You know, I'm kind of disappointed the science teachers aren't here, because I think because they have such a content heavy subject area.
yeah,
I hope that they'll watch this, because I think this will be really useful for them as well.
And they're teaching right now because they have the M2s now, don't they?
Okay. Yeah.
there was one interesting thing that I started looking at, because when we talk about whether kids could use it in reverse.
Right.
I'm going to do, if I go to my content, and there's this option to start a student project.
Oh, okay.
And again, because I started this, if I log myself out, go back to the student version, because I've set them a project, it's not showing at the moment. Maybe I deleted it. The project enables them to find, there it is. So I called it something. The project means they have to find their own video, and then they add questions themselves. And then that's a piece of work that you can mark. So it would mean that they would have access to all the videos on Edpuzzle, on YouTube, whatever. They have to choose an appropriate one, and then they can either set questions on it, or they could just comment at certain points in the video. So I did wonder whether you could set up a project for them and then share them the link for your own video. And then when they've gone through the video, they could stop it at certain points and ask you a question. Now, there wouldn't be any way of you actually commenting directly on that question in return through Edpuzzle, but at least you'd know specifically where in the video they have a particular question. But it might be something older students that are a bit more tech savvy, but it was an interesting thing to be able to set up a project.
Yeah, we met with Summers Stevenson last night over Zoom, and she's struggling with a couple of her courses, and just thinking out loud, wondering if that's an approach we might want to take. We were also showing her just basic screencasting, so that she could have the screen in front of her and walk her through how she can talk into the screen and show her learning or ask her questions. So this might be another.
The students have exactly what we have. They can do a voiceover. They could give a multiple choice or a long answer. They can just type in notes as well as we can.
That's interesting.
One thing I was just going to mention, which I found quite useful, is, let's say I'm going to duplicate that. Okay. Just so I can show you what happens. What I was quite interested in, which one did I duplicate? So I would have to duplicate if I want to assign it to someone else. But what was quite useful, I think, is when you type in a question, you can also do this add feedback. So you can kind of make it instantaneous feedback. You can type in like your answer should have been, so they can get an immediate, am I right or wrong? It's kind of like There's questions that you can answer, like you can track their knowledge, but if you want to ask 3 or 4 of the same thing and help them understand, you can say, no, the answer was, right, try again in the same video. And I used that with my M3s to quite good effect. You can see that first answer was completely wrong, but then the second one was like, oh yeah, I figured out what he was talking about. So that was quite a nice little thing you can put in to add in the feedback. And that feedback only comes up once they've submitted their answer. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've been using. Does anyone else want to?
Well, I would love to hear how Fabi uses it, because it's such a different
Can I just ask something before we go on? So Alan, when you use this, do you use this within Teams or do you have it as a separate platform?
Separate. But what I'll do is I'll just throw a link in Teams, so they just click on it and it takes them straight, but they will need to log in. You know, they need to create their account, so they log in with their email, their own password. There is an option for you to set their password for them if they forget it. And you can also go in and change their name as well. So like Desmond signed in and gave himself some stupid name. So I just went in and called him Desmond. So I knew in my grade book who he was, you know, so, but yeah, so.
You could create a tab in Teams, right? And just embed Edpuzzle.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
you can do that kind of thing.
it's easy to reach for, yeah. Yeah.
The good thing for me is I found that putting videos on YouTube is fine if kids are actually going on and looking at it. But if you're setting a specific, I want you to watch this video, there's no accountability. Whereas I can now with Edpuzzle, if I put it on Edpuzzle, I know if they've watched it or not. Even if I thought, oh, I'll chuck in a little question just to check they're watching it. But you don't, you can do that because it stops it at some point and they have to carry it on, or you know, it's pretty obvious when they're on it. So it does help with some level of accountability.
Right. Yeah.
If they're watching or not.
Sorry. That's good.
Bobby, how do you use it? Oh, you're muted.
So as I was saying, I don't have my classes, like Alan, you know. I just basically, if you want to show my content, Alan, you can go to my my work, I mean my library. And what I've been doing is I'm doing it with the, usually I use it with the lower primary, and I do it with them. So you know, like whenever there's a question, that's, you know, the answer there during the class. I've never assigned it, you know, as a homework, but it's a great tool for language teachers. There's lots of videos and it's really fun. It's a nice variation for the teaching tool. Yeah. So, and if you want to show one of mine. Okay, so go to Hola Amigo at the top. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna use that one with the P5. I'm gonna actually record a Loom video. And what I'm gonna do is, obviously they're not gonna do it, but I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna make them guess, and then I'm gonna give the answer. So you can, yeah, so you can play it.
Yeah, that's good. I do that with the P6s too, I think, something like that, an instructional tool. They have so many platforms right now, that's the problem.
Yeah, but that's why I don't want to send it to them.
Maybe eventually,
yeah.
like.
Yeah, in the classroom, yeah, when everything is back to normal.
So Fabi, do you just share your screen with them? Is that how you're showing it to them?
Yeah, at the moment I've been recording Loom videos. Okay. And during my Loom video, I share my screen, and Yeah, that's how.
Okay,
yeah,
so they're not signing in at all to your Edpuzzle.
No.
They're just seeing it through your screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just wait for the answer. I mean, obviously, they're at home when they're doing it.
Yeah.
I just stop. I ask the question, and I stop, and then I said the answer was. Did you get the right answer? You know. Yeah. It's a nice tool.
Sharon, you said you could embed into Teams. I just tried to do that, but it doesn't come up a bit with Edpuzzle as an app.
Oh, no, that's not what I mean. You'd have to grab the link from the actual website. You'd be embedding another web page. So the app would be the web page app, and then you put the URL to Edpuzzle in it.
Yeah, from the actual
You can
video.
explain to me another time. I'm sure everybody else knows how to do it. I think.
Yeah, Emma, you find a video that you want to work, and then you take that link from that
Oh, so
video.
each individual video, not the
Yes.
whole.
You could do it that. You could do it that way, or you could just direct them to Edpuzzle, because they're going to have to sign in anyway. So
So what would be the link to Edpuzzle?
what is it? Edpuzzle dot something. Edpuzzle. Oops. Edpuzzle. Is it .com, .net, I don't even know. Just a second. .com. It's edpuzzle.com.
What? So you just put that in your Teams message, or you would have another tab for it?
You'd create a new tab, and then the app that you would select for that tab would be a web page app. And then you'd put the URL, when it asks you for the URL, you'd put the Edpuzzle link in that. And then it becomes a tab that they can reach for right within Teams to take them to that web page.
Should I just show you what I did?
Sure,
Yes,
sure.
please.
Have a look.
And we've only got a few minutes left because
Yeah.
Emma and I at least have advisory.
So here's my M3 general channel, and I've just, that link that I was given, I didn't even use the app, the web app or anything. I just copied the link that Ed gave, pasted it in, and it gave me all this.
Yeah.
So they click on that, and that would take them straight to the class. If they haven't created their own account yet, they'll be asked to, but then it will take them straight into the class that that you want them to be in.
Right, yeah, that's probably more straightforward.
That's just simple. I literally just copied the link from Edpuzzle when it says invite students.
Cool.
Alan, have you used this yet to set exams in any way?
Not really exams as such. I've kind of just done it to check understanding and to.
Formative assessment, I guess.
Yeah, so I did that one with no speaking the other day. I did, and I literally did it as a reminder, like, because we needed to use that content for the next thing. So that's why the feedback option was really useful, because I knew they'd probably have forgotten.
Yep.
But as soon as they saw some familiar things with familiar pictures, then it helped them remember. So, but you could, I mean, I was looking at another website called Go Formative.
Right.
Again, you set questions and you can set the correct answers or not. There's lots of options. Like, you could set an exam in it if you wanted to. It's video based, but like I said, I just had a video, but was a static picture on my screen. And then you just keep clicking through and then asking what the answer would be. So
yeah.
If you had a paragraph of writing, you could just put that on the screen and have an open-ended question and say, right, interpret that or do, you know. So
I know, yeah, science is right now looking for, you know, the best way to set some of their heavy content-based exams.
Oh, I have a lead on that.
I'm wondering if there's a way that, because once I'm just wondering if there's a way, have you noticed before, like, so the conversation we're having is, of course, all right, academic honesty, could the child, you know, go searching? So I'm just curious if on Edpuzzle, if there's any way that, like, would it detect some way if a child was to pause the exam, somehow click on to another, another search device or something like that. I don't know if you've come across that.
Exam.net.
Okay.
Yep, it's free in 2020, and it was highly recommended to me by an IT director in Japan because this is a big question right now. I think it locks down your browser.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so I take a look at it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap up. Thank you very much for today, Alan. I really appreciated your time. Thank you, Fabi, for sharing with us your practices too. And I'm going to shoot this recording out to people. And everyone, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Feel
Sorry, I
celebrated.
was in and out. I had the students calling me because I'm still like supposed to be checking in and answering questions. So I'm just letting you know that's why I had to go. And anyway, just apologize for that. Yeah. Thank you. I'll check it out for sure.
Okay, ciao, ciao.
Cheers. All right.
Cool.
Bye now.
Thanks, Alan.